Many of the world's largest tech companies, such as Google, Facebook, Amazon, and Microsoft, rely heavily on Linux to power their infrastructure and services. For example, Google has stated that more than 90% of their infrastructure runs on Linux. Linux is also widely used in the field of cloud computing, with many of the major cloud providers offering Linux-based virtual machines and hosting options. In addition, Linux is a popular choice for developers, with many open source tools and libraries being developed and running on the operating system. As a matter of fact, a 2019 survey found that more than 87% of developers use Linux for their work. Overall, these stats show how Linux plays a vital role in the tech field and is an important skill for anyone looking to work in the industry. Now, you might be like me in the beginning and not know the first thing about Linux or even where to start. But don't worry, because today in this video, we're going to take you through the first steps and help you get started using Linux. And make sure you stay tuned till the end, because we are in the middle of the Bearded IT Dad's holiday training giveaway. And today the Linux Foundation has donated a couple of training bundles for me to give away to you guys. All that and more is coming up after this. It is quickly becoming the expectation that if you are in IT at all, you have some form of experience and knowledge in Linux. Now, if you're just starting out in tech, you're probably a bit scared of Linux. I know I was. No pretty windows, no graphical user interface. It's just text. But it's really not that scary once you realize it's just another operating system. I mean, have you ever stopped to think about what makes your computer, smartphone, or other devices actually work? An operating system is essentially a brain of a device. It controls all the hardware and software and makes it possible for you to interact with the devices and run all your favorite apps and programs. Think of it like this. The operating system is like the conductor of an orchestra. It coordinates all the different instruments or hardware components and ensures they work together harmoniously to create a beautiful symphony or functioning device. And do you know which operating system is the most popular operating system in the entire world? It might surprise you. Well, it's probably not going to be a big shock, especially if you clicked on this video and got this far. Well, anyways, it's Linux. Linux is the most popular operating system on the planet, and for good reason. It's incredibly stable, secure, and flexible, which is why it's used by a wide variety of companies and organizations. Every single job I've ever had in the IT field has used Linux in some capacity. Whether it's setting up servers, running scripts, or just using the command line to automate tasks, Linux has been a vital part of my work, and I'm not alone. Linux is used by tons of companies and organizations across a variety of industries. If you're looking to succeed in the IT career field, trust me, learning Linux is a must. Seriously, if you put Linux on your resume for any IT related job, you're instantly gonna look like a total badass. Seriously, you're gonna have a rare skill that most people don't have, especially among ones that are just starting out in the field. Now, there are several different ways to learn Linux. You can be like me and learn by jumping off the cliff and just installing Linux on your everyday computer and forcing yourself to use it. And whenever I got stuck, I would turn to Google and have to Google my way through the problem. And don't get me wrong, that is one way to learn, and it costs absolutely nothing. And it can be very useful for hands-on learners. It forces you to learn because you don't have a choice. You can't be like, I don't feel like learning today, because if you don't figure it out, your computer doesn't work. And once you get into Linux and learn some of the basic commands, it's not that scary. Here, I'll show you some of the basic things you need to know to find your way around. Now, I'm not going to show you how to install Linux. There's plenty of other videos out there and documentation. As a matter of fact, I put a video out a while back showing how to install Linux within Windows. Yeah, you can install Linux in Windows. If you're interested in how to do that, I'll link that video down in the description. Now, if you're just starting out, I recommend Ubuntu. It's definitely one of the more user-friendly operating systems I have found, but feel free to try out a few different distributions. We'll talk a little bit more about distant distributions here in a little bit. So one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to update everything, because depending on how you installed Linux, you might not be running the most up-to-date stuff. So sudo is a command that stands for super user do. It allows users to run programs with security privileges of another user, typically the root user, also known as the super user. For instance, in Windows, you can do the same thing when you right-click and click Run as Administrator. When you run the command with sudo, you are prompted to enter your own password. This helps prevent unauthorized users from gaining super user privileges, as they would need to know the password of the user who is running the sudo command. Now, you won't see it asking me for a password here today because I'm actually logged in as the root user. So getting back to our Linux terminal, the first full command we're going to type in is apt update. So the app update command is usually ran before the app upgrade command, which is used to install new versions of packages that are already installed. Packages you can think of as software applications. By running app update, you ensure that the application manager has the most up-to-date information about the installed packages and dependencies on your system. This is necessary for the app upgrade command to work properly. So now that this is done, we're going to go ahead and run sudo app upgrade. So this is actually downloading and installing the actual updates to your system. So most of the time you'll come across this notification here that says this operation will require an additional blank of your disk space will be used. In this case, it is 0. But in most situations, you'll always type the letter Y for yes and enter and allow it to finish doing its update. So this process is actually only installing newer versions of packages already installed in the system. It looks at the list of installed packages and their dependencies and installs newer versions if they are available. No newer versions of the package are available, the app upgrade command will just simply do nothing. It's generally a good idea to run app update before running app upgrade to ensure that you have the latest information available for your packages. So now that we know our system's all up to date, we'll go ahead and clear off our screen by typing the clear command. Next command we're going to look into is the cd command. The cd command is short for change directory. The command is used to navigate between directories in the file system. It allows you to move from your current directory into a different directory. To use the cd command, you simply need to specify the path of the directory that you want to move to. For example, if you want to move to the root directory, you would simply run the cd command. The root directory is kind of like your C drive, the base of your operating system, the lowest level in the file system as you can go. So to get to a root directory, we simply type cd/. To move to a subdirectory within your current directory, you can just simply specify the name for the subdirectory. For example, if you're in the home directory and you want to move into like your own directory within the home directory, you would just simply type in the name of that directory. So mine is dsnow. So I'm just going to type in cd dsnow. And as simple as that. Now you might be thinking, well, this is all great, but how do I know what directories are there? I don't see a list of the different file folders in my directory. The ls command is used to list the contents of a directory. To use the ls command, you simply type ls followed by the name of the directory you want to list. For example, if you want to list the contents of the current directory you're in, you just simply type ls and hit enter. This returned nothing here because there is no files in this directory. But if we were to go back to our root directory using the cd command and type ls, you could see all the files that were within, or all the directories that were within the root directory. Now, if you want to list the contents of a different directory, you would type the ls command again, simply followed by the directory you would like to see. So for instance, we were just in the home directory. I could type ls home, and this will list all the files in there. See, there is only one file or one directory named dsnow. Now, let's say you want to edit a file. There are several different ways to go about this. One of the easiest ways is to use an editor called Nano. Nano is often used as an alternative to more complex text editors, such as Vi, and it is particularly popular among beginners or users who just need to make a quick edit to a text file. To use Nano, simply open a terminal and type nano followed by the file you would like to edit. For instance, here we're going to type in nano cron tab. Cannot type today. Now this is the file called cron tab. We'll talk all about cron tab in a future video. Once the file is open in Nano, you can use the arrow keys to navigate around within the text. There's also a number of helpful commands available, which can be accessed by pressing the control key along with a letter. For example, Control O will save the file. and the Control X will exit Nano. If you did all this on your own, if you followed along, you know Linux. You know the basics about Linux and how to navigate around. Now, if you found this exciting and want to learn more, what's next? Where do you learn more? And even more so, how do you prove to employers that you know a thing or two about Linux? Well, with most skills in IT, you can get a certification, and there are so many different options out there when it comes to Linux. There is the Linux Plus from CompTIA. There is the LFCA, the Linux Foundation Certified IT Associate, and the LFCS, the Linux Foundation Certified System Administrator. And speaking of the Linux Foundation, we're actually giving away 2 bundles from the Linux Foundation. We're giving away both the LFCA and the LFCS. If you're interested in entering, the link for this giveaway is down in the description, and you'll need the keyword Debian. Speaking of Debian, Debian is a distribution of the Linux operating system. One of the key features of the Debian distribution is its package management system, which makes it easy to install and manage software on the system. Debian is also known for a strong commitment to software and open source principles. It includes a wide range of software packages that are free to use and modify, and encourage users to contribute back to the community by participating in developing and testing. But there are so many different distributions out there than just Debian. And that might have you wondering, with so many different distributions out there, which version of Linux should I learn? Well, the good news is you don't have to just choose one. There are several different distributions of Linux, each with its own unique feature and capabilities. There's Ubuntu, which is a user-friendly distribution that is popular amongst beginners and professionals alike. There is Fedora, which is a cutting-edge distribution that is often used amongst testers and developers. There is CentOS, which is a stable and reliable distribution that is often used in enterprise environments. Of course, there's Debian, which is a well-respected distribution that is known for its stability and security. But no matter which distribution you choose, learning Linux will give you a major competitive edge in the job market and open up a wide range of career opportunities. Once you've learned these basic skills, you are that much closer to leveling up your career journey. The thing is, even after you've learned all these great skills, you still need to learn how to promote yourself to future employers. There's HR gateways, industry jargon, and companies unwilling to hire new talent. We deep dive into it in this next video on how to read between the lines when it comes to tech job listings. We cover interview tips and advice for when you're interviewing for your next position. So make sure and watch this video next to make sure you have all the information you need to land your next position in the IT career field. Thank you guys for tuning in, and until next time, keep learning.